Welcome to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now join today's host, Dr. Nicole Lindsey, as she talks overhead, debt, and creating other sources of income. And now, here's Dr. Nicole.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. I'm Dr. Nicole Lindsey, your host this week. And first of all, before we get started, I want to talk about and thank ChiroSecure for everything they do for our profession, everything they do for chiropractors, putting great information out, allowing women to get together on this platform and bring content to you to help you grow your practice, to grow you professionally and personally. So give ChiroSecure some likes, some love, and tell them how much we appreciate them, because we really do. So I'm your host. I'm the founder of ChiroMarketing, where I teach chiropractors how to build relationships with medical doctors to better their business. And today I have a special guest, a pupil of mine who went through my program on ChiroMarketing, who has been very successful with it, is now receiving referrals from MDs and more. And she's here to share some pearls of wisdom with you to help you. And this is Dr. Lynna Lees. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So MD marketing, let's just jump right in. So we have some new docs that listen to this. We have associate DCs, students, we have CAs as well. So MD marketing, why on earth would a chiropractor want to build relationships with MDs? Let's start there.
Oh my gosh. Why wouldn't you want to start with what I found is that when I get a referral from an MD or a naturopath, which I work with a lot, these people already come in knowing that they're going to have care. So all I have to do is figure out what's going on and what's wrong and present the care plan to them. And they're already sold on being a patient. It's great.
I agree. I saw that early on doing this. And yeah, it made my life in practice so much easier.
Right.
So I agree. So you were an associate in the past, and yes, you did have to bring your own patients in there, but then you went off on your own and you started your own practice.
You got it.
Congratulations.
Like we all do.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me about how you used MD marketing to help you, because that's how we met, because you were saying, I need new patients. I need to build my practice.
Yeah, I practice in Seattle, and I think that, the social media marketing, all that kind of stuff wasn't working for me. And I had a PT background, and that's how I used to get patients when I worked in physical therapy. I'd just stop at doctor's office, and it always made sense to me, but I was never the one that set up those talks before. I never was the one that contacted the MDR marketing people. Always did it. So I knew it's something I wanted to do. I just didn't have those extra little steps of, hey, this is how you reach out to a doctor, and this is what you say, and this is how you say it to the doctor. So I think that was really important to figure out, and your direction helped me that way. And now I've just refined it and it works great.
Awesome. Yeah. So you were doing Facebook marketing, social media. Yeah. What made you want to connect with MDs?
I think because of my physical therapy background, when I was in school, I really struggled to begin with the philosophy of chiropractic. I really had a hard time melding with it. But as I graduated and started growing, we have to have that philosophy when we're practicing. But I always still had the MD, the Western medicine background, and knew that there's so much untapped potential from those people coming in, because MDs don't know what to do with people when they come in with back pain. They just say, here, I don't even know necessarily what's wrong. I'm going to give you this pill. And, if you're not okay in 6 weeks, come back to me, and then I'll send you to PT, which, is great, but it doesn't address, I feel like, the entire problem. We have to get to how the spine moves and that kind of thing before we can address the muscles and everything else around it. So.
Yeah, you made a really good point. And that's, I feel that way too, that there's this gap. We always say let's bridge the gap. And that's truly what there is, I believe, in right now in our country. There's Western medicine, there's what we do. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are going to their MD's offices that need help, that the MD truly wants to help, but doesn't know how, with the opioid crisis. And this is where, exactly where we come in. We can show them how we can help them with these patients, because they want our help. They really do.
I found when I go in and talk to the doctors, it's almost like you can see their demeanor change when you start talking to them and saying the things that you can do. They find out you're not a weirdo, but they almost have a relief. Like you can see their shoulders, just everything relaxes, because when you're talking to them and you're telling them how you can help these people and it makes sense to them, what you're saying to them, it makes an incredible difference to them and their practice, that they know they're going to be able to help their people more.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you meet them on their terms, where they're comfortable in their office, in their break rooms, behind closed doors, so that they can put that guard down and be open with you and say,
it has to happen that way. It has to, and you have to be able to talk to them on their level. If you go in and just, talk about chiropractic and the philosophy of it, we all know that you need it, but you can't talk to them about that. You have to talk to them on their level. Right. That's the biggest thing that I found. If you can talk to them in their language, and so they understand it and know, then that's going to be a great referral source for you.
Exactly. Yeah. They're going to open up to you if you use their language, for sure. So what strategies did you use to build relationships with MDs?
I was lucky to begin with, because it's kind of nerve-wracking to set that initial call up and do that kind of thing. But I had several friends that were naturopaths, and they were in group practices. And so they kind of helped me facilitate going in. And once you kind of get in there and start doing it, then it makes it easier to go in and start talking to them. When you realize they're not different from us, they want what's best for their patients. That's a huge difference. So I kind of had a little in first to make it easier.
Yeah. So you utilized, because, I teach the 4 different strategies. Right. So you utilized mainly going in and doing the lunch and learns.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I would go in, I would bring them some food, and that helps break the ice, first of all. And then, going in and talking about a specific thing, what I want to see from those people, and telling them, this is the people. And I know you see these people in your practice, headaches or that kind of thing, and telling them what to look for and how to send them to me was huge.
Yes. So going in with a symptom, with their language again, and that's the biggest thing that I find in coaching chiropractors with this, is that they feel they have to sell their soul. They feel like, I don't want to talk about symptoms. I can't. I want to talk about the philosophy of chiropractic and all the things that chiropractic can do for the person. But the thing is, the MD doesn't get that. And that's going back to what we were talking about. If you go in saying that, the MD's not going to, he's not going to be open to it. He's not going to listen. But once the patient gets into your office with neck pain, with headaches, and you manage that and you help them with that, then you can take that patient through what you normally do and teach them chiropractic lifestyle,
Yeah, I think one of the big things for me was going in and talking about an adjustment. I was kind of afraid how I was going to handle that, because I think I started with you right after that model had been adjusted and ended up passing away. And of course, the blame got put onto the chiropractor. So I was afraid that I was going to go in there and that's what they were going to quiz me about. And I have not had one doctor ever ask me about it. They don't they don't care. It's just like physical therapy. They don't care what the physical therapist is doing to get them better. All they care is that the person's improving. So they don't care if I adjust, and they don't care what happens during the adjustment. They just want their person to start feeling better. And that was something that when I went in, I was like over and over in my head how I would address it, and it never came up.
Right. I know. It's crazy how much fear and the worry and the things that stops us from doing what we need to do to grow ourselves personally and professionally, and how a lot of times this stuff is just frivolous. It's not even really, like you said, it doesn't even come up. So communication is definitely the key. And you touched on this a couple times in some of the things you were just saying. And that's a big part of what I teach, right? A big part of my program.
Right.
So you can get into the MD's office, but if you do not communicate effectively, you're going to kill the deal, right? So
exactly.
What are some pearls of wisdom we can give these folks listening today? What are two things that will absolutely kill the deal between you and the MD?
I think going in and, like we just talked about, just talking about what chiropractic does, you can't go in there like that. You have to go in with hard concrete. This is what we see. This is why we know that it works. This is what I want you to look for to send to me. That's what you have to go in with. And if you don't have that idea set in your mind, what you're going to do, you're going to they're not going to connect with you, and they're not going to understand. So you have to have your niche when you go in there and talk to them, have it set out. This is what we're going to talk about, that kind of thing. And be able to compare different kinds of treatments too. I feel like being able to compare what I do to what a physical therapist does, and why am I different? So you have to know that. But also there's a fine line of not being the crazy chiropractor that you can fix everything. Even though we do help so many things, we know that. Yeah. The MDs, they don't want to know that.
Right. That shuts them down. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the other thing that's really important is that they have to know that you're going to work with them. You're not going to try and take their patient and say, you don't need to see the medical doctor anymore, and you don't need to take that medication anymore. You need to make sure that you are helping the doctor understand that you're going to work as a team, not take over the person's care.
Right. And don't you find that oftentimes they want that collaboration? They welcome it.
Totally. Yeah. But that's what they're all about. Like, they have their meetings where they get together and they do chart reviews and they do those things with other docs. That's what they want to do with you too. And so I know one of the things that most of the doctors that I work with say that they love is that I send an initial exam and I send progress reports. So this person's just not out there floating in never land and they don't know what's going on, because they start feeling better. So they don't have to go back to their doctor. So the doctor doesn't know, did this person try and take them into the chiropractic world and never to come back to MD or what? And then the other thing I think is really important is to make sure you let the doctor know that you've discontinued like the active treatment. They don't necessarily have to know we're doing maintenance with them, but just let them know that active treatment part of it is done and they've met their goals, and that's what's happening.
It's no wonder to me that you're so successful with this, because you are doing everything that I teach. That has been, and it's proof that if you just follow, why reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah. So, I just had to have somebody tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
I knew.
So what are two things that pearls of wisdom that will seal the deal with the MD as far as communication goes? We talked about things that will kill the deal. What are two things that they absolutely love to hear?
I think making sure you communicate with them with how their patient's doing. Yes. And the other thing that I think is really, really important is that if you ever have a patient that you're not sure about what's going on, you talk to the doc. Don't try and make the decision on your own. If you're sending somebody for an MRI, don't do that without talking to the doc first. Make sure that they're active part of the care. And there's also ways that you have to do that. You have to do it respectfully and say, this is what I'm doing, and I just want you to be a part of the process and see if you agree or disagree. And most of the time they agree. They have no idea, but most of the time they'll agree. But if you don't say something to them, I guarantee you'll never see another patient from that doc again.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I had a patient the other day who was unsure of what was going on, and I called her MD and I basically said that. And I came with some differential diagnosis, which is also what they like.
Yes.
Because they'll say, what do you think is going on? They want to know, they want to collaborate. And so I told her what I thought. And I said, I'd really like to send her back to you to have a workup, and then let's collaborate again. And that's exactly what we did. And the patient they ruled some stuff out. Patient ended up being referred back to me, and we're taking care of her and she's doing fine. But the biggest way to lose a patient is to not just exactly what you said, is to just take control, not address this with the patient. And then the MD that lack of communication is not a good thing for that relationship.
Right. Yeah.
So you've been doing this now, MD marketing, for over about a year, has it been?
Yes.
Somewhere around there. So what has this done for you, for your practice?
I think one of the biggest things is that, you have to have multiple streams of new patients, and you also can't just go and talk to one doctor's office and think that's going to be it. So, I think it's taught me that people coming in, I definitely still have to check in with those doctors. But for me, it makes it so much easier than to have somebody cold call and say, I found you on Google. And now the doctors know how I practice, and they know what I do, and they know what's going to happen with their patients. And I don't have to explain it to the patients because they already know coming in. So it makes it easier for me going through and talking to them about what they need and why they need it.
Perfect. And you also have moved your practice now you've joined some other healthcare providers.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm in with some naturopaths, 5 naturopaths and 2 acupuncturists. We have nutrition, and we all work together on inter-referring. Last week, I had 3 referrals from one of our NDs in one day. So it's made it really nice to be in-house and then be able to understand that I can send my people to them. And just like with me, I don't want to send my patient to a doctor that I think is going to undermine what I'm saying. Right. So being in-house with these docs has been awesome.
That's amazing. And you met them through some of these meetings that you were doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went into a collaborative group that had 15 different docs.
I remember that.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of different docs, but the building actually ended up getting torn down. So some of the docs had to go different directions, and I was looking for space too. So we just started talking, and they're like, "Hey, we want to bring a chiropractor in with us, and we have the space." So it's worked out perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you taking your time to come on today and share this information, these pearls of wisdom with everybody listening. I'm sure they gained a lot out of it. So thank you so much for doing that. If anybody listening wants to know more about MD marketing and how Dr. Lynna was able to do what she did, please communicate with me. You can reach me at dominatechiromarketing.com, through ChiroSecure. You can Facebook. However, I'm here to help you. Next week, don't forget to tune in for our next Empowering Women in Chiropractic Facebook Live show, as Dr. Randy will be here to share her pearls of wisdom, as she always does. So thank you all for listening, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.